Hey friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are back with another installment of my favorite color series. This time we are looking at my favorite greens. So as you probably are aware just by the length of this video, this is another long one, which was kind of surprising because I wasn't expecting this to be longer than the previous shades because I normally wouldn't think of myself as a green polish lover, but here we are. So I will save more of my thoughts for the end. For now, let me show you my favorites. So of course we're going to be starting with some of the lighter, more springy colors, and the first one I have is Sinful Colors aPEAsing, which you may have seen in my spring favorites video this year. This is definitely an older polish in my collection. I got it several years ago when I just stumbled across it in a Walgreens. I was such a sucker for the name and I love this minty color. I know it kind of looks borderline blue. I know some minty shades are like that, but I consider this more of a minty green, so I'm including it here. But yeah, this shade just makes me so happy. I think it's so light and refreshing and beautiful. Next, I have Ave's Calla Lily, which I also shared in my spring favorites video. This one is such a beautiful, whimsical shade to me. I feel like it gives me Tinkerbell vibes with this combination of this spearmint kind of green and that golden shimmer. Easily one of my favorite shades from Ave in general, and so it's obviously just one of my favorite greens. I think it's just so vibrant and stunning for the spring season, but it just has that touch of sheerness, so it just really adds to that ethereal vibe. Next, I have Color Department's Peace of Mind, which is this beautiful, earthy, pale green. I just adore these shades of green so much because I just find them to be so soothing. I'm not sure what it is about them exactly, but they're just so calming to me and very comforting and obviously very pretty. So this one has such a beautiful formula too. It's definitely one of Color Department's best polishes in my opinion. If you saw my review video, you know their formulas can be kind of on the crelly side. Some of them are 3-coaters, but this one is just so buttery smooth. The next green I have is Ave Scape, and this one came out earlier this year as a part of the Spring Equinox collection. Once I swatched this one, it became my favorite spring green from Ave. It just has another beautiful, flawless formula with great coverage on the first coat. It's just so satisfying to paint, but I just really love this specific shade of green. Before this one, I really did love Sprout from last year's spring collection, but that one just leans a little bit more yellow, and if you know me, you know I'm not the biggest fan of yellow leaning greens, so this one is perfect. Next, I had to include Holo Taco's Matcha Maker. This one is now a discontinued shade, and I only grabbed it because it was getting discontinued. I did always have my eye on this, but I just never picked it up sooner because I thought I had something similar in my collection, but lo and behold, I do not. Though I will say, Scape definitely is probably the closest that I have. Of course, you can see the collage at the end to see them kind of side by side. They're not quite dupes. Unfortunately, I wish there was something exactly like Matcha Maker because I think this one is so beautiful. So to go a little step brighter, I have Mooncat Neverland, which I was on autopilot and I forgot to record the first coat, but this is what it looks like. Not anything super impressive, pretty good coverage for the most part, but definitely some light spots, so you will need 2 coats. I know the formulas for these were kind of controversial. Mine were a little bit thick when I initially got them, but I do have nail polish thinner, so it wasn't that big of a deal for me to just add that in. I think the colors are absolutely worth it though. They are just so stunning. I love how vibrant this is. Next, I have Cirque Colors Cream from this year's Vice collection, which was a re-release shade. I am so happy that they brought this one back. I actually voted for it to come back because I just adore lime green in the summertime, and this one was just the perfect lime green for me. I love that it's so vibrant but still very much a green, because my kind of pet peeve when it comes to neons are the yellow leaning greens. So yeah, this one is just perfect. Another favorite lime green of mine that I almost forgot that I had is Trust Fund Beauty's Skinny Margarita. This one was kind of in the back of one of my drawers, so I just completely forgot that I had it for a while, but this is another super stunning, super vibrant lime green shade. I feel like it is kind of similar to Cream, but maybe a little bit lighter, like an almost pastel version, if that makes sense, but it's still very, very bright. So I just adore this shade. It has a great formula, very creamy, though I think depending on your application, you might need a third coat because this doesn't really have a wide brush. So it can be a little finicky, but the color is so worth it. So keeping on with the lime greens, but the non-neon versions, the first one I have is Cirque's Matcha. This one came out in the Gourmand collection earlier this year. I just adored that collection in general. The vibes were so immaculate, but this is definitely such a standout shade. It's just such a perfect green cream that is so vibrant and bright, just like matcha powder. But this one, again, is not a neon, so if you are looking for something that's bright and juicy for the summertime, this is a perfect lime green without it being eye-searing if you're not into that. Speaking of juicy greens, this next one is one that I've talked about a few times already on my channel. This one is Color Department's Kiwi Juice. I most recently shared this in my summer favorites video. I just adore this shade. It's another perfect lime green in my opinion. I think this one is just a little bit more lighter and a slightly more yellow leaning than Cirque's Matcha. So if you think matcha is like just a little too dark, then this would be the perfect lime green for you. The next shade I have is Holo Taco's Full Charge, which is a lime green linear holographic. So it's been a while since I shared some specialty finish polishes. I feel like with a lot of these lighter green shades, I'm just more drawn to the creams, but there is something about this shade that is just so breathtaking to me. And I feel like it's almost surprising considering my general taste. Like, I am almost surprised that I really love this shade as much as I do. I don't think I would really wear it as a full manicure necessarily, but I think it's just so beautiful. So to finally step away from the lime greens, this next one I have is Zoya Ness, which I think is a re-release that came out last year. And this is a beautiful jade green cream. I feel like it's borderline turquoise, but definitely very green. I was just so blown away by this color and the formula. It just is so creamy and opaque, but I just cannot get over the color. It's definitely one of the more unique greens in my collection. I would love to add more shades like this. It is just so beautiful for the summertime, just so vibrant, but it's not super in your face. This next shade breaks my heart because it is so beautiful, but it is a soon to be discontinued polish, or maybe by the time you're watching this, it's already discontinued. This is Mooncat's Sunken Splendor from the Expedition Atlantis collection, which came out last year in like the early summer. And it's this really rich green, kind of turquoise leaning jelly base with this stunning gold magnetic shimmer, reflective glitters, and obviously these little gold flakies as well. This was easily my favorite polish from that collection, and it was one of my favorites from last summer. I adore this shade so much, and again, it just broke my heart. I fell to my knees in a Walmart when I heard that this was going to be discontinued. If it's still available by the time that you're watching this, I just can't recommend picking up this bottle. It is so mesmerizing. Now getting into some of my fall greens, we're starting with some of the lighter kind of sagey colors, and this first one I have is Cirque's Paloma, which is one of their iconic speckled polishes. This is actually my first speckled polish that I got from Cirque. I picked it up several years ago, and to be completely honest, I actually was kind of disappointed when I first got this because the color just did not match the website photos, which is a very big problem, especially for Cirque's brand specifically. But aside from that, I still think this is a really beautiful sage kind of green. It definitely leans a little minty. I feel like it picks up pretty blue sometimes depending on the lighting, like you see here, especially after the more vibrant greens that I shared, but I still would consider this like a sage muted green. The next shade I have is Ave Zinc, and this one is described as a dusty celadon green. So this came out in last year's fall pigment collection, and it was hands down my favorite green that came out. It is just such a beautiful shade. I feel like celadon is a perfect way to describe it, and it's not a green I see often. Like normally you see olive greens in the fall, and this one was just so refreshing to see. It has an amazing formula as per usual with Ave, but I just cannot get over the color. I think it is just so flattering. So in a similar vein, but slightly darker, I have Cirque's Rockaway, and this one is described as a dusty teal cream, but yeah, I would consider it like a slightly darker kind of celadon. Either way, it has those blue undertones, and I just really love blue leaning greens, even though I don't have that many in my collection. I feel like a lot of the greens that I shared are either very bright and kind of yellow leaning, but not quite, or like they're true greens. But these blue leaning greens, like I only have 2 in this color family, and they are just so stunning. So if you have recommendations that are similar to Rockaway or Zinc, please let me know because I am obsessed with them. So I don't really love olive greens because, like I mentioned, they lean a little bit too yellow for my taste, but one of my favorites in my collection is NCLA's Camo is the New Black. This one definitely is picking up a little bit more like a true olive, but in real life it's actually a slight bit more dusty, so it doesn't have that kind of strong yellow tone to it that you might see here. I feel like, at least for me, it's picking up a little bit like a true olive shade with that yellow undertone, but it just has this beautiful element of dustiness to it that just makes it a lot more flattering in my opinion. I guess if anything, I would say it's more like a cool toned olive, if that makes sense, but I adore this one. I had shared it as part of my fall favorites last year, and I still stand by it. It is stunning. The next green that I have is Ave Lantern, and this one is described as a grade green cream. I guess it kind of reminds me of Cirque's Rockaway, but a couple of shades deeper. So this one actually came out in a winter collection a couple of years ago, and I shared it as part of my winter favorites last year. I just adore this shade. I think it is just so beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite greens from Ave, especially on the darker side. I think it's just so unique, especially to my collection. And it's like a perfect mix between a really deep, almost olive kind of shade, but it just has that more blue undertone that I think is so gorgeous and flattering. I love this one. And now to finish off with my specialty finishes, I have Painted Polish's Gilded Pines, which is a super stunning muted pine green jelly base that is packed with these gold microflakes. I just adore this color combination. I feel like this is the closest that I would get to like a sparkly olive kind of shade because of those gold flakes, but it is just so stunning to me. I don't know if the base is really like a true pine green or if I'm kind of seeing a little bit of celadon in there, especially after some of the earlier shades, but I just think this one is so flattering, and those gold flakes are so mesmerizing. Easily a fall favorite. The next shade I have is KBShimmer's Take a Bough, which is described as a vibrant jade green polish with a really stunning gold to lime green shifting shimmer and these glowing hollow flakies. I ended up only doing one coat for this one, as I usually do, because I feel like it just gives such great coverage on one coat alone, and this one is just so mesmerizing. I love how vibrant it is, especially for the winter months. Up next, I have Holo Taco's Wicked Potion, and this is a super rich, deep emerald base with a really stunning and vibrant green magnetic shimmer, and of course, all of these gorgeous hollow flakies. I just love this shade so much. I feel like it's such a beautiful shade of green, and it's definitely very deep, so I feel like this can work for Halloween too, but I normally would love this in the winter time. I think it's just so stunning with the vibrant green shimmer and those hollow flakies. The next sparkly green that I have is a little bit more understated, but still so stunning. This is Butter London's Royal Emerald, and I believe that I shared this also in my winter favorites last year. This is described as a deep metallic emerald green, and I just adore this one. I feel like it almost has like a gunmetal kind of quality to it, or maybe color, because it's a little bit muted and kind of gray leaning in a way, but it's still a very deep and rich green. So I love this for the winter time. I think it's just so cool and such a beautiful shade. It almost has a really plush velvet look to it too. Next up, I have the iconic shade Access Denied by Mooncat. This one is actually a black crelly base that's filled with a really beautiful, vibrant green shimmer. So even though it is a black base, I would consider this a green just because there is so much shimmer in here. And it is so stunning. I'm pretty sure this is one of Mooncat's best sellers, and I'm not surprised by that in the least. I actually haven't given this enough love, but it really is such a beautiful green black shade that I think is so stunning, and I would love to see this in more colors. Next, I have Painted Polish's Lookin' Mighty Pine, which I grabbed from Polish Pickup last year, but it's actually back for the rewind in Painted Polish's shop until the end of this month, which is July 31st. So I would recommend go grabbing it if you missed your chance on it. But this one is a beautiful, deep pine green jelly base that is super full coverage, and it is just packed with all of these hollows and shimmers, and it's just such a sparkly winter shade. I adore this one so much. This one is super deep though, so in this lighting I feel like it just kind of looks black, but it really does have like that rich emerald green base color that is just so perfect for the winter months. And last but certainly not least, I have the also iconic Zoya Merida. This is such a staple in my collection, and I feel like so many other people's collections, because it's just that perfect evergreen for winter. I think this one is so stunning. It's definitely very vibrant, where I feel like it is like a borderline emerald color. I know that I described a lot of polishes like that, but maybe this one is the most emerald out of all of them. And this scattered hollow formula from Zoya is definitely one of their best in my opinion. I feel like it's just so beautiful. I love the other shades that they have, but this one definitely takes the cake. It is just so perfect for the holiday season. So unsurprisingly, I couldn't fit all of my favorite greens into one collage, so I had to split them between the lighter spring, summer kind of shades and then the darker fall and winter kind of shades. So here is the first collage. Obviously, I'm a sucker for the lime greens. I just am always drawn to them, and it's just really hard to narrow down my favorites because I just really love and appreciate the subtle differences in them. And here are the fall/winter greens. Obviously, I don't have nearly as many as the brighter ones, but I still love these just as much. And it's so funny to see that I'm a little bit more drawn to specialty finishes when it comes to these darker greens. So that wraps up my favorite green nail polishes. I can't wait to hear what you all think of my picks for this video, and let me know if we have any favorites in common. Obviously, let me know what some of your favorite greens are, or just what shades of green you're normally drawn to, like if you like the lighter, brighter shades or the deeper ones, because obviously, I'm the most drawn to those bright lime kind of greens, but I really love so many different shades. I feel like olive greens are probably like my least favorite, but when it comes to those Celadon, like the blue leading ones, oh my gosh, I need more of them. So if you do have any recommendations, please leave them down below. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm looking forward to doing my favorite blues next. But I think I'm gonna try to sneak in one more before then and kind of do like my favorite minty aqua turquoise colors, because I feel like I just have so many, and if I were to save them all for just my blues video, it's probably gonna be like an hour long, and I know some of you love like long form content like that, but I don't know if I'm able to do that. So I might just kind of split it up between those bright like aqua, teal, turquoise shades, and then more of the traditional blues, like the sky blues and deeper denim kind of shades. So let me know if that's all right with you, but leave me any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.